welcome to the family. And I'm sad because it's our second last session. Our Saturdays will be lonely. Fortunately, some of us will be continuing with UP and FNAF Mahapa and hope to meet with you again. And a special welcome to our guest speaker, Sis Nandi. You have seen her, I think those who logged in earlier, you also saw her that she can move. She moved that body. There she is, she's waving at everyone. And welcome to Confidence. She's our former mentee who's coming to join us again this year and share with us the journey that she had with G4G. So let's welcome our guest. And welcome to all of you to session 5, which is running for office and leadership. And as usual, we need to start with our rituals, or we are not going to have a successful session. So can I please have one of the mentees who can volunteer? I will share the screen. Whilst I'm sharing the screen, who can volunteer to lead us and do the prayer with us? Let me see. Can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Just put it in play mode.
Okay, can I, usually when we try to do it, all of us, the rhythm, you know, one starts there and then it becomes messy. So can we have somebody who can just read it out for all of us? And I think as she's reading, we just need to internalize it and make sense of what the word says, because this is a powerful prayer, and when you are down, you can always look at it. And somebody suggested that we have the visual boards where you put in words that will encourage you, and I'll also encourage you to take the prayer and put it on that on the side so that you can recite it and internalize it and live by what it says. And when you feel like, you know what, this person has wronged me, but remember, you said, I will not tear her down. I will not when they succeed. You must remember, I said I will not be jealous of her. I need to celebrate her success because my time is going to come. When they're going through a bad time, you need to say, I got your back, sister. So if you don't internalize it, then you are not going to understand the journey that we are going through now. So can we have somebody who's going to say the prayer for us? I can't see the hands. Can the team help me?
Sipho Sihle has raised her hand.
Okay. Sipho Sihle, thank you very much. You can go ahead.
I am my sister's keeper. I will build my sister up, encourage her, empower her, and pray for her. I have no reasons to talk about her, tear her down, be jealous of her, or to compete with her. I am going to stand behind her and help push her into her destiny. Pretty woman pray.
Thank you very much, Sipho. Thank you very much for reading that prayer, and I hope those who were listening are starting to internalize it and will live by this this prayer. And I understand today we are going to have Loloetu, who is going to also help us to get into the mood. She has a war cry for us to do before we start with the business of the day. Loloetu.
Hi ladies. So when I was in high school, like sports was a really big part of my life, and we came up with a couple of war crimes. So I edited one of them so that it makes sense in the context of G4G. So it goes something like this, right? Ladies, 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 unite. Together as a family, we conquer new heights. So just in the beginning, that part, ladies, I'll say ladies, and then you guys ladies, and then the third time we say all together, and then unite together as a family, we conquer new heights. Yeah, so I don't know if we're all gonna unmute ourselves or.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have
Okay, so
somebody unmuting, and then if you can also show your video, please. Can you just repeat it again?
okay, it's ladies, ladies, ladies unite. Together as a family, we conquer new heights. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I think on the
You got it? Did we get it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So
Okay.
let's start.
Okay, so on the count of three. Okay, then I'll start. 1, 2, 3. Ladies,
Ladies.
Ladies. Oopsie.
Okay. Wow.
You are stuck, Loloitu, or is it only me?
It's frozen. Yeah.
Loloitu? Oh.
Oh.
Maybe we
Sorry
continue.
guys, my connection is a bit delayed, so I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Maybe turn your video off, Lolo.
Ladies unite.
Start, Loloitu.
Can hear me too.
I can't see her now.
Okay, I'm back.
Yes, all right. Let's start.
Okay, can we start again?
Yes.
So on the count of 3 once more.
We can see you.
Go for it.
Loloitu, maybe switch off your video. Loloitu?
Hi, I'm so sorry, my network is.
No,
Not
it's fine.
working.
Maybe switch off your video and then we can just listen to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Just trying to find better network as well. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm
we
gonna
can
go
hear.
on the count of 3.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Ladies.
Ladies.
I think it's the
Loloitu?
network.
Ladies, together as a family, we conquer new heights, something like that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Can Loloitu? Yeah, that's the technology for us. So I think we got what she wanted to say. So I'm just going to try and do it for her. So if I say ladies, then you say ladies, and I say ladies, and then you say ladies, and I say ladies for the third time. Then from there, we all say united as a family, we conquer new heights. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ladies.
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 United as a family.
We
Conquer new heights.
That's the best we could do under the circumstances. You know, when if it was face to face, we would have nailed it. But we tried. I hope maybe Zoom soon will make sure that we coordinate, because I can see sometimes people coordinate, but it's because each one do their own video and they bring everything together. But when you try to do like now, it becomes difficult. One is ahead and one is behind. But I think let's applaud her for their effort, because we gave them the task and she decided, you know what, I am going to give it a try. And thank you very much, Loloetu, for making sure that we get into the group of things. And as you all know, technology, I don't know whether I'll say it fails us or what, but these are the challenges that we have to deal with. This is our new normal. Thank you very much. And before we start with the session, I would like Joyce to help us recap so that we can remember what we did last session, and before we move forward, because we need to connect the dots. Joyce, over to you.
Thank you, Sishuba. So, hello everyone. I hope everyone is well. So good to see everyone. I can't believe it's our 5th session already. Wow, time flies. So like we always say, we don't just move on to the next session. We always want to reflect on what we learned from the last session, because all the sessions that we participate in are connected. There isn't a session that stands alone. So before we move on to the next session, we want to be sure that we remember what we did in our last session and what is it that we can take from the last session into the next session. So, being our 5th session, I hope that you guys are going to participate, especially. So when I say, please tell me about this, I'm sure you jump in. I mean, we are like on fire already. We don't even have to be convinced to participate. Okay, so mentees, you'll remember last session, we first had to watch a beautiful video from Prof. Hung. And then during the session, we had a guest speaker, and we also had our amazing circles, and we came and gave feedback. And I would like to ask from you, what is it that you remember from Prof. Hung's video? What were the 3 key concepts that she talked about? I'm not sure if I can see anyone raising their hand. I think I'll need help here. So anyone to just tell us what is it that you remember, the concepts that she pointed out in her video. Remember we did our session on negotiations and we watched a video before we participated in the session. What were the 3 key concepts that she talked about?
Joyce, Alice's hand is up.
Alice, thank you. You can go.
The 3 points that was spoken about in the video was you, which stands for the Y stands for yourself. So you need to know your goals and your interests, and then O's for others. So you need to think about others and their interests and their goals and how you can help them think of ways they can also get to their goals by helping you as well. And then you was standing for understanding. So in negotiation, it's important to understand. And this this reference, so to say, is what we discussed, was that it's a continuous cycle that happens. So you constantly need to think about yourself. You constantly need to think about others in a negotiation. Also, there constantly needs to be an understanding between yourself and others.
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you. As always, you guys always capture it so accurately. So well done. Okay, so that was what we learned from the video that we watched by Prof. Hung, and then we had an amazing guest speaker. Who can remember some of the key points that she talked about? We will remember that she, in her role, you know, in the SRC, she got involved in a lot of negotiations, and her role was actually quite political. So what is it that we learned from her that we can remember? Anyone? Tell me if you see a hand. I can't see. I don't know what's. Is anyone raising their hand?
Go ahead, Nkolo.
Okay, the most important thing I learned from her is that it is important not to compromise on your values in any negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Not compromising on your values. That is very important. And as we had a discussion with her, there was one aspect that sort of evoked a lot of interest in a lot of us. She mentioned something about negotiation, and we were like, okay, this speaks to a lot of us as young people. You know, we are going out to look for jobs very soon. And so that's one thing that she talked about, and we, even in our circles, I think we had quite a lot, like long discussions around that issue. Can anyone remember what that was? She talked about negotiating for something, and we felt, wow, this was quite an issue to think about, as it affects a lot of us. And it's quite a sensitive issue. It also involves a lot, you know, power dynamics, depends on where you stand in your life, what your needs are. So when you step into the world of work, it might actually be difficult to negotiate for some things. What were these things that we talked about? If anyone wants to say something, just go ahead. I can't see who's raising their hand.
Joyce, there are some comments in the comment box as well.
Okay.
Nayasha says, she said you don't need to be clear about what you want when negotiating. Always be prepared before you start negotiating and do your research. And then Mikenso says, know what you're willing to compromise and what's not negotiable.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Zainab, for helping. I was not looking at the chat. Thank you so much. Yes, that is very correct. And I remember in our circle last week, someone said, you know what, if you don't know that you are negotiating, you are not prepared. So, you know, most often at times you find yourself in a negotiating situation, but you're not aware that you're negotiating only after you realize, oh my God, I should have thought about these key aspects. I should have prepared well enough. But when you know, you will go in that negotiation session being prepared. So thank you so much. Towards the end of the video of Prof. Hang, she said something very important. I think we quite enjoyed doing it last session before we ended. What is it that she said she encouraged us as G4G ladies to do to each other, for each other? Something to do with pointing out other people's strengths. What did she say we must do? Yes, I see the comment there. Shining the spotlight. It's so exciting because I even see in the G4G chat, you know, we are always shining a spotlight on our leaders and on other people. And I think we did learn that, you know what, people feel, okay, so if I say I'm good at this, my strengths are or whatever, they'll feel like they're breaking. But sometimes if we are aware of the strengths, it's very good for us to actually point out, to say to another lady, to say to another girl, you know what, you go girl, shine. We recognize you, we see what you are doing, and we are happy about what you are doing, and you are good. And that sort of affirms whatever it is that they want to do. There's also have space for disappointment. Yes, have space for disappointment, because not all negotiations are going to be successful. And when it is not successful, you always want to try to understand, right? What is it that made other people not buy in to my idea? And then I would like to hear from anyone. Do you think what we learned from the negotiation session can actually work, can actually help us step into the world, into the session that, remember the session that we are looking at today, you know, running for office? How does knowing how to negotiate help you when you are running for office?
Come on, ladies.
Ladies, just that one last thing. Remember, we are connecting, right? We want to move on to today's session. but we want to see if there actually is a link between your negotiation skills and running for office. Is there a link? Do you think there is a link or not?
Ngolo is smiling. It looks like she has something on her
Okay,
mind.
let her smile and say something.
No, I don't have
Go
anything
for
on
it.
mind. I don't have anything on mind. I'm still trying to think about it.
Okay.
Okay, anyone?
I do.
Loretu?
Yes, I think if you're running for office, you obviously have people who are depending on you and who are hoping you uphold certain values and standards. But the reality is we live in a world where people have different beliefs and values and so forth. So you need to be able to compromise, and usually you can come to a compromise through negotiation.
Thank you so much, Loretu. And when you think about the you concept, I just think it speaks a lot to what you do when you run for office. So the link is very strong between what we did in the last session and what we are going to look at today. So thank you so much, ladies. I think that's it. And what I see there is
a hand up.
Alice had a hand up.
Okay, Alice, go.
I was going to say that when running for office, there's also power plays that exist today, and it's important to be able to negotiate what you are bringing or what you want to call into action. You know, being able to communicate that and negotiate that, and also thinking about yes yourself and your goals, but your call to action also involves others, and it's also important to make your community or whatever space that you are in or whatever position you're running for, make sure that whatever you stand for is understood.
Wonderful. So you see that the link is very strong between the two. And so thank you so much, Alice. I see there is a comment by Nyasha. She says, if you are running for office, negotiating skills and communication skills will help you better advocate for yourself and the community. So you see, she's not even just linking to the negotiation skills. She knows that negotiation is also linked to communication skills. So you see how all of these sessions talk to each other. There isn't one session that can stand on its own. So we do find a link, and as we move forward, we connect. Whatever it is that we learned in the last sessions, we are able to connect with what we are looking at in the next sessions. So thank you so much, ladies, and thank you so much for your participation. And I'm so proud of you. We didn't even need a mentor today to come in and say, okay, let me add to this, because you guys captured it so perfectly. Well done. Thank you. Back to you, Sishuba.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who contributed to the recap and to try and make the link. We are going to go back. I think I forgot to mention the agenda for the day, so let me do that now. And we are also running behind in terms of time because we had to wait for people to log in. So before we go ahead, let's just look at our agenda, and you can see it's a jam-packed agenda, so we'll need to really move, but I just had to allow this session to continue so that we move into today's topic, understanding exactly and how it links to all the sessions that we have had. So we have already done the welcome, and then my sister's keeper prayer. We did the icebreaker. Thank you, Lolwetu and Joyce, for leading us in the recap. I'm now going to do the intro to the session, which I think Joyce and the mentees had already touched on it. And we are just going to have 2 minutes of confidence time to share with us her journey and her call to action story. And if you follow us, and I think I should emphasize this whilst I remember, because if I leave it to the end, I will forget. Please make sure you follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, for you who are Instagrammers, and on LinkedIn, because the spotlights that Joyce was talking about, they are always posted there. So any news, any developments, any spotlight sharing, it's on there. And I wonder if you have seen that one of our mentees was also mentioned in the platforms. Have you seen that? Do you remember? Do you know who was the spotlight person? And they were talking about the speech that she made. I don't see any hands. So please make sure that you do follow us, because they do post there. So it was Fortunate. Remember Fortunate did the speech, and we requested her and the other winners to give us their speeches, and we put them in the report, and we got the highlight. And that's how also Confidence got the spotlight last year, when we asked for her to say something about G4G. So, and then after we do the Confidence share, I will introduce our guest speaker. Then after our guest speaker speak, we then go to our circles. And remember, we discussed the video and what the guest speaker said, but it's also the opportunity for you to come with strategies and see how you can attend or maybe answer the call to action. Then we will come back and do the feedback and also the sharing. We have asked that those that did not share in the third session, we will ask you to please share with us your stories, and then we will close. Let me just get into it and say, we have already done 5 sessions. We started by building trust, and we went into qualities of being a leader, and not an ordinary leader, a courageous leadership, a courageous leader. Then from there, we said, what is it that this courageous leader needs to make sure that at the end of the day, they are really courageous and they can advocate for others. Then we did art of communication in session 3, and we also learned there, what is it that you need to do or make sure that your message is clear, your message gets through, how to win your audience over, how to make sure that by the time you finish what you want to say, you have touched people to an extent that they are able to then listen and say, you know what, this is how much you touched me, I'm willing to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Or maybe to say, I'm glad you came and talked to us, I understand better the concept. Then from there, we did negotiation, and that's what we were discussing earlier. We are advocating for ourselves and for others. So if you know how to communicate, and now you know how to negotiate, you have built the trust, you have grown your village, you know your mission. The next step will be, what is it that I need to do with all that information? How can I put this into action? And as we all know, the public service and running for office, it sounds more like a political, it's more political. It's like, now do I need to get into politics, or what do I need to do? It's not only about getting into politics, but it's about using your leadership qualities in any area that you are in. And that's what we will be doing today, to indicate that we are not saying only about politics, but the little that you can do. If you are maybe a chairperson of a ref, what is it that you are doing to lead those people? Or if, like one of the mentees said, I want to be a chairperson. When you have to be that chairperson, what is it that you will be doing? Chairperson of what? How will you influence the decisions when you go and represent your ref as you meet with management? If you are running a youth, you are in a youth group and you volunteer to lead that group, what is it that you will be doing as the leader, given or having those skills that you have learned, to say, this is the cause that I want to make sure that our group runs with. How are you going to do it? What is it that will convince the people that you are leading that this is the way to go? So in our context, we are trying to say these qualities that we are talking about. I think you have heard when Prof. Steve Garding was talking, that you can take the same principles that are political and put it in your own environment, in your own circumstances, in the organizations that you are running, or in the organizations that you think you will be running after we have finished with the session. We are saying, be yourself. The emphasis is on being yourself. We have just had a session with the UP cohort, and that is one of the areas that came through, that most of the circles did indicate that you really need to manage yourself. You really need to be authentic so that people can believe in you. So as you run with your mission, you are yourself and you are not a fake, and at the end you get into trouble. But you are saying, this is who I am, what you see is what you get. You are going to sharpen the skills that you got from art of communication and from the negotiation sessions that we have had. We are also going to have the guest speaker sharing her story, guiding us in terms of how did she manage to share her message and get the message through as she was in all the offices that she has been in. How did she use the knowledge that she had and the influence that she had to run with the message that she wanted to get through? And we are also going to hear, like I said, from Confidence, who is going to also help us understand the topic of the day better, to say what is it that she did with the knowledge that she got after G4G, to say, did her journey stop there with sessions, or she took the knowledge that she had and ran with it and made an impact in other people's lives. We all have indicated when we started that we want to make a difference, we want to make an impact, and we want to see how we are going to now make an impact in other people's lives. And from there, we are going to go into sessions, and then, like I indicated, I think I've already touched on what you are seeing on the screen, to say, what is it when you discuss in your sessions, things that were not clear or things that you still need clarity on. What is your next best step? You know, what is it that you are going to do as I indicated, as a student leader, a church leader, if you are in church activities? What are the challenges that you have that we need to discuss and you need help with, to say, because you remember your mentors are your network, and the mentees, the group members, maybe they might have some ideas to help you. So we also asking you to just be free. We indicated that this is a safe space to share those fears, get strategies, and as we share, then we know that we are increasing our knowledge. So today's session is all about that, to say, what does public office mean to us? So I hope that we are going to have a fruitful discussion as we go into our circles to answer that question. What does it mean to me as a mentor? And make it about me, myself, and I. Because normally when we talk, we say, you know, sometimes people, but then you need to bring it home to me, myself, and I, Bibuso. This is what it means to me. This is how I'm going to do it, or this is how I'm already doing it. So I hope it's clear that the topic of the day, and remember all those principles, the values that we have already shared from the beginning of the session, to say what informs you, what grounds you. When I say I'm authentic, and this is what you get when you talk to me. Whether you see me, whether you read what I have written, it's the same. I am me, myself, and I don't pretend to be somebody else. I learn from other people and I internalize that and make it me. And when people ask you, what are your values, you will be able to say, I am grounded by this. I am grounded by this. I am this person. So you are able to articulate who you are and what your mission is. So without wasting any time, and I hope it's clear the mission of the day, I am going to ask Confidence, if she's ready, to please share with us her journey. She's not going to touch on everything, but she is going to share with us her journey with G4G. Confidence?
Yes, ma'am. Well, greetings, everybody. My name is Confidence Ndukwane. So I'm a former mentee of Girls for Girls South African project. And I'll just start by letting you guys know how I got to join the project. So I was just talking to Mrs. Mashiho one day at the social work department, and then she was like, did you join Girls for Girls? And then I was like, what's that? And she ended up explaining everything to me, and then a link was sent to me, and then that's how I joined. But the first time I went there, guys, I won't lie to you, it was like, all of us had different expectations. We thought maybe it's just gonna be that meeting where we sit and then they workshop us, they just tell us, you know, the usual stuff. But then it was so interesting to a point that we wanted to go back the following session and then the next and then the next until we finished. So I just want to send my gratitude to the mentors who encouraged us to keep coming, because it was not very easy looking at the fact that we are also students and stuff. So my journey, guys, I'm from a rural area, I can say, where poverty is not, surprise. People struggle there. So, but then the main door by which my family and I started struggling was when my father died, and then my mom had to see how she meets the ends and stuff by selling things by the primary school and stuff like that. Then I realized that no, women are not given the opportunities they deserve. Even though she qualified for some jobs there, when the opportunities were made available, they were very selective as to who do they give the opportunities to get the job, not looking at the fact that there are people who are capable and are in need of these resources. So in that way, I grew up saying I would become a social worker so that I can fight this, stigma of saying women can't do this, women can't do that. And when Girls for Girls found me, guys, I was still confused as how am I gonna go about things. But when I went to the session, the first session, the introduction, everything was fun and very, very educative, guys. So in that way, I wanted more. And we got to the fifth session, which is today. This session was very, very, very useful to me, because here at RES, where I stay, we had students were dropped off by NSFAS, and me and how it's like to lag, to not have enough of like my basic needs and stuff. I spoke to the manager here at RES, and then she was like, I will support whatever you want to do. Because I felt for other students, because when we're talking and then maybe 5 people will be telling me, oh, NSFAS dropped me. Okay, I don't have a sponsor. I don't have anyone helping me. I'm a person who socialize a lot. So I ask around, like, how are you meeting the ends and stuff? So in that way, I found like my list was just growing and piling up. And then I was like, what is it that I individually can do I don't have to finish school and become a social worker so that I can serve the community. I can start now. And I got that from Girls for Girls, guys, because they taught us that each and every one of us, we have the values. They are hidden inside us. We have the potential to do these things, but we need people to come and, you know, take it out and expose ourselves to our own ranks. So that's what happened. Then I started with the Dinaledi Scarlet Ribbon Richard program. It's not really registered, I would say. We are still waiting for the results and everything. And we've been working so hard, guys, to help, because you can't wait to say, this is what is gonna happen, and then we're just gonna wait. Okay, someone will come and help. What about us? Then we've been getting donations, and then we've been helping other students and other community members who are in need in that way. And you too can do it as well. Just take this Girls for Girls project seriously. Whatever they teach you is very, very useful. I'm practicing it today, and I know what Girls for Girls can do for you. So without wasting any time, I want to brag a little to you guys. So I don't know if I was supposed to do this, but then I got a certificate, guys, and this is the most valuable certificate I have in my life, by which you know, when people come in my room and they see it, then they're like, okay, certificate for what? And then I tell them about it. That gives me strength. It makes me feel like I belong somewhere very, very important. And when they Google and they find, okay, you are there as well. And I'm like, yeah, I am. So guys, honestly, stay strong. You can do it. If you have a heart to serve, don't let anything stop you. You may not have the resources, but there are people who have, so reach out and find out if they can help, because there is no community that is without resources. It's just people, it's just hands that are not very useful enough to spread around. If you can share love, you don't just have to say, I love you, that's all. You can share it with your, extending your hand and be like, okay, this is what I can try and do. And at the end of the day, it's not about what you get in return. It's about what you do for others, for the world. The world won't change if you don't try and change it somehow with the little you can do. So sorry guys for talking too much. Another thing, I got a bag. This is straight from Uganda, guys. So, and it was handmade. I love art. So this, I got it from Miss Rita. She was just giving us, those who attended the sessions to the fullest. You didn't miss any session. So this is one of the encouragements that I would say to you. Don't miss your sessions, because you don't know. You might not get a bag from Uganda, but you never know. So you guys, sorry for taking your time, but I'm just I'm an excited human being about Girls for Girls. I am proud when I wear that t-shirt that they gave us. So thank you guys.
Ooh, confidence. Ooh. Rita, I'm emotional. Do you want to say something, Val? Zainab?
I'm coming for that certificate. I'm going to frame it so that she can actually hang it up there. But confidence makes us proud. I think there were days when we used to ask ourselves, are people even coming? 60 people, you remember Boy Puso would sign up, and then on the day itself, like, we see people dropping off, 20 something, but people like confidence kept coming. And I remember Kimmy and I kept on saying, even if it's only 2 girls, it makes it worth it. So to watch confidence today speak with so much confidence, she makes us proud. I'm like you, Boy Puso, hiding behind the glasses. It's amazing. Thank you, confidence. We love you, and you are our star. You know that you were posted on the Project Girls for Girls website, and a lot of people in Uganda keep asking, where is confidence? Where is confidence? So it's wonderful. We will post and say, you came back, and that you're still along with us for the journey. Thank you so much.
There she is. That's what was posted about her on Facebook, what Rita is saying. And I really don't want to mess with what confidence has said. I think she has said a mouthful, and we just need to take what she said as we internalize it and see how we can use the information. She is the testimony to say if you take this serious, you can go far, you can really make a difference in people's lives. And without time, I know I asked Valerie and Zainab to say something, but I'm just going to say if there's anything they want to say, I think they can put it on the chat box, and also other people can put it on the chat box so that we can have now our guest speaker. We are already running out of time. It's not that I don't want us to continue. If we had more time, I think we would have let Confidence say more because that's not all that she could have shared with us. Without wasting time, let me welcome our guest speaker, and it's Sis Nandi, and that's how she prefers, not Miss. She would like to be called Sis Nandi. We apologize, we got a picture of her, but it's a picture of her in her younger days. So when I showed her the picture, she said, "Ooh, younger me," but that's me. So we will be able to see. But when I looked at her today again, there's not much difference. She's aging gracefully. So Sis Nandi is a seasoned executive with experience in strategic thinking, planning, good governance, organizational transformation. She served the Eastern Cape Professional Administration in various senior positions. And also, I'm trying to just pick few things there. She is currently working at the Nelson Mandela University in the, in the portfolio responsible for people and institutional capacity, encompassing organizational development. Her qualifications, you can see, I think she has many certificates to show on her wall, and that is encouraging. She has a MSc in Public Policy and Management from the University of London. She has an MBA. I think you got some of you managed to get the profile. For those that could not go through it, she also has an MBA from the Southeastern Louisiana University and Masters in Industrial Psychology from the University of Fort Hare. So you can see she has also traveled the world, and we'll probably get to hear how she used that to link it with the topic of today. She's also a registered industrial psychologist, and she has served on various committees, and she also has some achievements. She was a recipient of the 2008 PricewaterhouseCoopers for the Eastern Cape Public Sector Women Award. She also was the recipient of First Achievers and Leaders Award in Institutional Building at Sri Lanka in India, Africa-Singapore Partnership Summit. And in 2014, she was a semi-finalist nominee in the most influential woman in SA and SADC government. So you can imagine also across the board, the borders. If you are recognized in SADC, you are also competing, with people in Botswana, people in Zambia, Zimbabwe, people in Swaziland. So you can imagine she has a wealth of information and knowledge to share with us. But above all, she said her role as a mother, as a sister, as an aunt comes first. And we would really like to hear from her how that she used that, because I think she's passionate about that. When she sent the profile, that was the first thing she mentioned, to say, I am a mother, a sister, an aunt first, before I'm a public servant. And for me, that says a lot about you, Sis Nandi. So the floor is yours, Sis Nandi. You can unmute
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was just saying that thank you for the opportunity. And I've tried to, I can be like confidence as well. So I'll need to time myself so that I don't exceed the allocated time. But I just could not reflect on the rituals that were done and their importance and how they link to what we're talking about today. So I'm just going to just reflect quickly. In the prayer, the Pretty Woman prayer, three things stood out for me, and it kind of picks on what I'm going to be sharing in my journey. In the prayer, I picked up that the girls, they are being groomed not to be haters. The girls are being groomed not to be jealous. And the girls are groomed to be cheerleaders for each other. So that is what I'm taking out of that prayer. And then you shared that before we started, you had bad news. And then you shared with us and said that you've just had bad news, but this session needs to happen. And I'm just, I think it's Maya Angelou who said that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. So your sharing reminded me of that. And the war cry for me, it's a unifying credo that was shared by one of the girls. And in the recapping, I think critical clarity was that all this, the work that we're doing with the girls, you're preparing them for office. Where and you've stated an office could be anything that you're leading. So I think for me, the other thing that stood out for me, which links with my journey, is the issue of being authentic. With me, it's not gray. It's black or it's white. You know where I stand with you. And then with regards to confidence sharing with us, I just want to affirm that mentoring alters your journey. If you happen to be mentored and you open yourself for mentoring, it alters your journey. And mature as I am, I still have people that mentor me, that I use as sounding boards, that I use as coaches, even though I also coach other people. So I'm still being coached. And I think it helps you to interpret the world, and it helps you to stay on course. So those are some of the issues that I've picked up from the sharing. So I thought I would use this 5 minutes of mine to just reflect on the rituals. Quickly coming to me, my journey, I'm just going to pick up some snippets because I mean my journey is so long, but and my story. But I think for me it's very important to reflect that my story, I've been a little girl. I've been a young girl, like the girls that are here today, but I'm also a mature girl. And for me, I grew up from Ekasi. My formative years was Ekasi until I passed primary. Then I've got that outlook of Ekasi, and then I went to the village where I spent my secondary education in the village. And then I did my high school in a boarding school. So I am made up of those different worlds and worldviews as a girl. So those are my formative years. And I think when we were talking the other day, you said that let me share mostly the curveballs. So I'm just going to have some snippets of curveballs in my journey. And I thought that not so many people know about this curveball, but I thought it was for me very important to share it with the girls. I went to university when I was 17 years. I was doing first year. And when I was 18, I was doing my second year. And the first curveball I got, when I was 18, I got pregnant as a young girl. And my lesson from that was that I did not negotiate myself out of that situation. And I think that if I had said something, you know, within that context, as I'm not going to say I was raped, because this person was my boyfriend, but I think as I understand to now, as I grow old, that it could have been rape, because I said no, but then, and then the boyfriend said that I'm not going to, well, it was during the day actually. And you never think that during the day, I thought that people sleep with boys at night. So during the day, I felt that I'm safe. But unfortunately, I was not safe. And then he said that, no, I'm not going to allow you to go home if you don't have this. And I was like, yo, I'd rather do this. And then I go home, because I can never not sleep at home, you know? So I'd rather do this. And then after this, I don't want to see this person in my life. So what is the lesson for me is that where I was, I could have screamed. I could have, do so many things, but I decided to be silent. And then my lesson for me was that I will never be silent again. You know, so that's what I took out of that situation. And I've never been silent from that day onwards. So that's my lesson. So that's my curveball. And I had to go out of university for a year to have the baby and then go back to university. But I had the support of my parents. So for me, I thought that was important to share. The next sharing in my journey is that it's very important to be visible. And I think for me, when I had the theme for today, running for office, I said, you run for office when you have raised your hand. So you have to raise your hand. And in the journey that I've raised my hand, and raising my hand made me to be visible. And when you are visible, you get spotted. And then when you get spotted, you get presented with opportunities. So I will just share, this thing of raising. I mean, putting an application for a job is raising your hand. There are so many people who don't put up applications because they are afraid that they are not going to get the job or they are going to be rejected. If you fear rejection, then you're going to have a problem. So you've got to raise your hand and you get spotted. So I started to work, and in the meetings that were happening, I would speak up. I would say my thoughts. I would share my ideas. And when I started working as a young person, my first job was not in HR. My first job was not in industrial. I did not apply my industrial psychology in my first job. I just got a job. Remember, I said I'm from Kasi village and everything else. So when you graduate, you want to work to work. So you don't have much choice that, oh, I don't take this job, I will take that job. So the first job that I did, I worked as a third secretary for foreign affairs. And then in meetings, I would share my ideas, suggest issues. And then the Director General at the time, I was about 22 years old, the Director General spotted me because I raised my hand, I shared ideas, and then the Director General said, no, this young girl, young lady must be placed in human resources. She's got very good ideas and we need to improve in that space. So that's how I then shifted to where I was trained to be before, even though I started to do work in another space. Haters. At Forte, I worked at Forte, and even at Forte, I raised my hand, I was visible. I took assignments, and I was in the informal networks. And when I worked at Forte, Forte was going through difficult times, going down, you know, there was so much turmoil at the time. And then Professor Derek Swartz was brought in as a vice chancellor to assist Forte to turn around. And I was not like a senior big person at the university. I was just doing my HR work, doing it so well. And there was a committee that was set up to turn around the University of Forte and to come up with a turnaround recovery strategy. So being in HR, I was responsible for turnaround that relates to HR. But the way I was coordinating my HR work and presenting my work to these committees, in my absence, I was appointed to be the coordinator of the administration side of the university. As you know, the university is the academy, then there's the professional services, which is all the support services. So I was given that responsibility. I was not at that meeting, but I was spotted and I was found to be a person who can do that, even though I was not there were registrars that could have been chosen to coordinate, you know, the support services, but I was chosen being in HR to support, you know, to coordinate. So I had to convene like the registrars, the big people, you know, at the university, being a small person within HR. So that was visibility. That was, they perceived my skill, they perceived my determination, they perceived that I stayed the course because I raised my hand. I still have 8 minutes. Coming to government. When I came to government in many years ago, I think it was 2000, I was quite young at the time. And in government, those who know government, yeah, things have changed now, but those who know government, you don't just become a chief director. You know, it's a chief director is a big thing in government, but these days you do get young chief directors. So at that time, I was the youngest chief director. I shifted from the University of Forte, and I was spotted by somebody as I was working at, you know, at the university. And one of the professors said, "Hey, we are very worried that the government, with its transformation, they will spot you and they will take you in government." And at that time, because of the assignment and exposure and the participation that I did during the merger, you know, at that time, because I became part of the committees that were dealing with the merger, discussing with government, you know, the UNITRAs, the roads, the Fortes. So I got spotted, but I didn't apply for this job in government. So a person who had spotted me during those conversations phoned me one day, said, "Hey, we need a chief director for the province." I'm like, don't want to work in government, I'm fine here. And please, man, can you take it up? I took it up. So then I worked as a chief director. When I got there, I was one of the youngest, I could say at the time, chief directors. So what were my curveballs? The first curveball is that, one, I was young. The second curveball is that I was a woman. And the third curveball, they thought that I don't know the public sector. I'm coming from the university, so what is it that I'm going to teach them? And you can never underestimate the importance of preparedness. Be prepared. Because by the time I then took up the position, I had prepared myself. I read a lot about the transformation of government, you know, all the reports and everything else. And when I went in there, it was as if I've been working in government. That's how I got the job. So be prepared. So the other thing is that you would people in corridors, they would not, almost in government, there's a pecking order, a very serious pecking order. I mean, if you are there, people call you with your big name. And me, I would hear people saying, "Ukhona lamntana." I'm the chief director, but they don't say that about the other chief directors who are men. But when they talk about me, "Ukhona lamntana," Is that child there? You know, I'm going to that child's office, you know. So those were some of the curveballs that I had to deal with. And I had to be firm. I had to know my story. I had to be respectful because I was working with people who are older, but I was firm. I had to call them into order. I had to, you know, discipline them if they needed to be disciplined. I had to counsel them if they need to be counseled as a young person. And for me, what was also important was that I multiplied myself. How did I multiply myself? I delegated. I empowered my team. I made my team to be accountable. I set priorities. I shared my priorities. I enrolled the team, and then the team will run with the idea. And myself, I will just, you know, support the team. And one of the things that work for me and still work for me is to be reflective. It's very easy to be, you know, bogged down by work, by challenges. You've got deliverables, you've got a team that has got to present, you've got to go to the cabinet, you've got cabinet reports, you've got to go to the communities. It's very easy to be swamped in that. So I created a space for me that at the end of the day, I reflect. I have a reflective moment. I speak through to my recorder. I reflect about the day. Today, this day, this is how it has gone. This is what I would have done. I should have done better. This is what I need to do tomorrow. You know, so I'll reflect before I sleep, and I'll reflect in the morning. That helped me. So in the journey, as you go up, haters will always be there. Detractors will always be there. The detractors will always be there. You know, jealousy will always be there. You will lose friends. You will gain new friends. You will gain fake friends. So you've got to have discernment and have time to be heads down, but create time to be heads up so that you can be able to reflect and see things for what they are. One thing that I also have, I've got a disability. And I remember as a young girl, the haters would use this disability of mine to talk me down. You know, most a hater, when you're doing nice things, you are moving, they look for something, you know, that will, a flaw. And then they will call me with my disability. And very early on, I was aware that I've got this disability, and I affirm myself. That's very important. Self-affirmation. Self-affirmation, I stand there, I prepare, I tell myself that I'm good. I tell myself that I am fearfully, wonderfully made. I tell myself that you know, but I also understand that I've got limitations. That's why I ask questions. That's why I've got, you know, mentors and sounding boards. I'm curious, even now in my role. I'm very curious. So basically, with the minute that is left, is that even the roles that I've played, I will take it as running for office. There should be pressing issues. There should be a cause. And I turn those pressing issues and those causes into mandate and manifestos and drive them. And when I exited government, I was the head of department for human settlements. I was the first head of department for human settlements because housing used to be together with local government. And then a decision was taken through a provincial Indaba to split housing to stand alone as a department. The premier at the time had spotted me that I am a trailblazer. I am a go-getter. I'm not afraid to take chances. I'm brave. I go to situations, to uncharted waters, you know. So courage and bravery, and knowing that to be fearful is restraining. So for me to go to being a Deputy Director General and be asked to go and assist in the splitting of housing and local government was quite a complex task with all the politics that are with it. But I managed to do it because I was trusted that I will do it. I was trusted that I will prepare for it. And that is why you find out that one of my degrees is in public policy, because when I joined government, I realized that I needed to understand how does government work and how do people think in government. And those masters, they helped me a lot to understand the complexity of government and to be able to deal with the politics that are within the government space. My 20 minutes is off. My watch, my phone is telling me that. Thank you so much.
Boybusa, you're on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't, yeah.
Okay, so I will start. This is how, you know, we clap. Yes. Thank you very much, Sis Nandi, for sharing with us. And it's like you have been with us from session 1. And I don't want to spoil it, but I hope the mentees have picked up, because as you were talking, I'm thinking, oh, we did this in this session, we did this in this session. And hopefully you can see in the chat box, you know, that people can relate to what you said, and our mentees really appreciated you sharing your personal story with them. I saw somebody saying they can relate to what you have said, and it is true. What you have said. If you are going to raise your hand and say, I want to be a leader, you need to be courageous, and that's why we have session 2, where our girls, we are saying these are the principles. This is what you need to do, and they also share with us. And self-affirmation. And I think also, because we also have a WhatsApp group that we communicate with, and with the mentors also. We had the imposter syndrome that, you know, we've been talking about, where people doubt themselves. And I think you saying you need to reflect, you need to self-affirm, because there are haters out there and they will bring you down if you are not strong. So thank you for saying that. And also indicating, we also talked about growing your village. So when you said you are going to gain friends, and those are friends that will add value, and you indicated that you are going to lose friends, which means those are not the ones that you can walk the journey with. And that's something that we have already touched on in our session when we were doing courageous leadership. It's one of the principles, like you saw. We have a video that they look at, and then we come and discuss. So everything that you have said here, you are aiming to say we are on the right track, and this is how it's done. It's your journey. You have walked it. So we are not telling lies. We are authentic. And when we say it happened this way, and we are saying sometimes it might not happen that way, but this is how it happened for me. So what is it that you learn from my journey when you are going into the... And I like the fact that you are saying, raise your hand. And one of the reasons why G4G was formed was for that issue, to say sometimes as women, we are afraid to raise the hand. You know, the hand is somewhere there, and somebody else must put it up for you to say, I will. And I think it's true that your work talks for you. So as you were saying, you know, they spotted me. It was not nepotism. It was not that you paid a bribe to somebody else, but everything that you said there, because we will also take, and Rita always emphasizes, take notes so that you all reflect and remember. And you said, I raised my hand through my work, and that's what I am taking from what you said, to say your work will talk for you. People will see what you are doing, appreciate it, and give you an opportunity. And thank you for that. And I think it links well with what Confidence has said, to say after getting the information, she just didn't sit and do nothing. She acted on it. She raised her hand, and she's always asking. She will send us emails. She asks, can you help with this? Can I help with that? And for her, it's the gathering years, because we're also talking about the gathering years. And I think I picked it up as you were talking, to say, you know, the work that you did, you were gathering information, you were gathering knowledge, and you went back to school to learn about how government works, so that it enables you to do your work. And I think that's what Rita also said. She's a lawyer by profession, but she's not practicing law. She is in, what is it, public health, and she's doing masters so that she can understand public health. So we are on the right track, and thank you very much. So I'll just open up for question and answers to Sis Nandi and to Confidence from our mentee. Valerie, I forgot to ask, how am I doing on time?
I'm so sorry, I haven't been watching time, but you're quite far over.
Okay. All right.
No,
So
but it's
can we have
fine. This is really
questions?
important. We've got at least 10 minutes for questions at least. So please go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Okay. So can we have, please, ladies, this is your opportunity. We brought Sis Nandi for you. She shared her story. Confidence has shared her story. What are the nagging things? What is keeping you back? Because we don't only want you to, you know, ask nice things. We are just saying you want to do it, but this holds me back. Maybe they might provide an answer for you. So please help us, the mentors, to please help me to identify those that have raised their hands, and also to check the chat box. Is there anyone?
I'm here.
Oh,
I don't.
Tansia.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I wanted to ask, because the guest speaker said that we should make ourselves visible, right? And we should be prepared, which is like something that I highlighted. And those are the problems that I'm having, to be prepared for things. It's like I might have a set out timetable, but it always fails. And I don't know what to do or what else to do to change that. And how do I make myself visible in a situation that I'm not necessarily prepared for?
Do I take a few, or do I respond, share what I think, because it's not, there is not a right or a wrong, it's just sharing, you know, what could work.
Yeah, I think you can share. I don't see any other hand. Unless there's another hand, then we can take the second question. Then you can answer both of them. But is there any other person who wants to ask?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes. Puraha has raised her hand. Okay.
And this
I
Kinsani.
also have a question, because I have a problem of confidence, I will say. I may have ideas and it's all set out well in my mind, but when it's time to stand up, and how Sis Nandi said about you have to speak out, to raise your hand and share your ideas, I tend to either lose that idea or just mix everything up. It's like I'm afraid, I'm covering myself in a shell as much as I can be talkative around my friends or whatsoever, but when it's time to actually speak my mind for real, I tend to hide myself. Like I'm not able to face the world for what it is sometimes, most of the times. Yeah.
Okay. You can answer these two, and then from there we'll go to Kensani and Lolwetu.
The confidence comes with practice. For me, I was fortunate enough that when I was raised, my father raised me, I mean, in a non-conventional way. My father, raised me like a boy. You know, most our parents, if you are a girl, you must wear a pink dress. My father did not make me to wear a pink dress. You know, so that also gave me the confidence and being trusted, to stand in and do what people thought were men's or a boy's responsibilities. But coming to the girl that have just spoken, I thought I was going to take the name. Your ideas, put them down. Don't leave them here upstairs. Have a journal, write your ideas, write what you want to do, have a vision board, and then take small steps, with regard to the vision, to the ideas that you have, write them down. And then continue to be part of this conversation of the Girl for Girl, and work with your mentor to deal with confidence building. And your confidence will be built as you take small tasks. You may think the tasks are small, but the more you do one task and you present it and you do another task, your confidence gets built. And also in the area that is the area of your interest, it's always important to, I cannot overemphasize, to read about it, to ask questions, about what you are wanting to do, the ideas that you have in mind. Sit and reflect, who is demonstrating or who is working in this space that I'm interested to venture in, and then go out of the cocoon and get that support. So I would say use the opportunity that is presented by Girls for Girls, because I see these opportunities as training platforms, as safe space to practice, because you are not going to be, ostracized in the space. I'm not sure if I've shared what I think you could do with regards to your challenge at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Is it Mikenso or Kensani?
Kensani.
Kensani. Okay, Kensani.
Oh, it was Kensani.
Yes, Kensani,
okay.
Then Lolwetu.
Okay. Thanks.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the question that I have for Ma'am Nandipha is, what have you done to not always feel like a victim? I'm sure, or I think that in most of the spaces that you have been subject to some sort of victimization, maybe because of your gender, you being a woman, maybe some sort of sexual harassment, things have happened, or somebody has looked at you in the wrong way, said the wrong things. What have you done to not always feel like a victim and not push yourself down, but remember, the reason why you were there?
I cannot overemphasize the question of what I call mental resilience. In my own life, I always say that, one, I am not going to make that person's problem to be my problem. That's a mental frame I have, that I've trained myself. That now by making a person's problem to be my problem, I'm not talking about a person who's got a real problem. I'm talking about a person who's got a problem with me. It's his problem or her problem to have a problem with me. It's not my problem. The second thing is that in my mind, I tell myself that if you have done something to me that is bad, that is, you know, as you have shared the example, I tell myself that if what you have done to me or what you are trying to do to me that is putting me down does put me down, it means you have succeeded. Now, I've always have an attitude that says, whatever is thrown at me, I will not make it define me. So if, like for an example, myself, I was married and I got divorced, like at 32, I got divorced. And people, when I tell them my story, they don't understand why did you use? I mean, these things that you are saying are things that I could have put up with. I said, no, I'm not going to put up with them. And I'm not going to take them to my next relationship, you know. And people will ask you, do you think you can also get married again? I said, yes, I will get married again if I get somebody that I think values me. I will get married again, because that one that did those things, I've dealt with them. I may have dealt in things as well, but I've dealt with them. I've picked them from the carousel, my baggage, deal with it, and then move on. So that my life is not dictated by what happened the previous day. So there's a song that I like that I use. I've forgotten it's an American singer. It's the song that says, yesterday is gone. Today is the day that you have. Tomorrow may never come. This is this one day I have Jesus, you know. So I live by that. So as a person, you have your you know, that pretty woman prayer kind of a thing. Have those things, you know, to deal with life. Have those pretty woman prayer things. Read books. Like I read a lot of books, spiritual books, because that has got to do with also being grounded and being confident with who you are and what you know and don't know. So I would suggest that read books like Battlefield of the Mind, because a lot of young people, I was young as well, we do a lot of thinking, and we sit in a negative thinking space, thinking negative things over and over and over and over again, and we think them to the extent that they become like real, whereas they are not real, they are not there. So that's what I would advise you to do.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we will take Lolweti, and Kolo will be the last one.
Okay, my question is, like, I'm hearing that you've done a lot of pioneer work and you've started a lot of things. So yes, with regards to that, like, how do you know when something is ready to be, you know, given out to the public? Because I feel like when something has never been done before, there's no real mind map or steps to take. So how do you know, okay, this is ready for the consumption of someone else, or it's at a level where I feel I can release it to other people? Thank you.
I would be lying to you to say, how do I know? What I do know is that I'm an experimental person. I'm a person who believes that it's not going to be perfect. Let me just do it and I'll fix it as I go along. You know, so I never wait for a perfect product, if I may say so. You know, and one other thing that I do a lot of, I would call it consultation, a lot of, but also you must choose the person that you share your vision and your dream with. You know, even at work, you know, when I was working at Forte, for an example, it was for the first time at that time, young as I was, when I opened because I'm very much passionate about young people, whether you're a girl or a boy, and people that are marginalized, for a lack of a better word. I started a internship program for students that were at Border Tech at the time. And I can tell you, it was not a perfect thing. I just sat down and I thought that there are students that are starting at Border Tech. They don't have, they are not taken by employers to do their practice that they need to, for them to qualify and conclude their thing. And I just picked up the phone and I phoned a Border Tech, a person that I didn't know. I looked at the directory, I found a head of department, and then I said, I'm willing to take in students from them. There was no blueprint. I just became experimental and I improved it as I went along, you know. So sometimes you just have to be experimental and understand that you are the slogan of Nike, just do it. Because sometimes you can sit and have paralysis of analysis and you never deliver anything.
Thank you. Ngolo, you're the last one.
Okay, my question to you is, what do you believe your purpose in life is and what keeps you going?
My purpose in life is to deal with issues that are pressing. And for me, the issues that are pressing, I'm biased. I'm biased, and I don't think I'm sorry about that. I'm not sorry about being biased. That there are pressing issues. We are having this workshop webinar, you know, Girl Talk, at the heart of pandemics, gender-based violence and femicide, in particular against, you know, women and girls and elderly people. And the coronavirus, you know, made it sharp for us that there are inequalities, unemployment, poverty, and the coronavirus, you know, affected women more. And we kind of had a conversation with women that are senior managers that I just, you know, engaged. Was even at the university, you find out that your senior directors, maybe you are 3 or 4 women. So you've got to come together and have conversations to affirm one another, to strengthen one another. And you find out that women working from home, the issues of patriarchy, you know, have hit them, you know, on the face like that, you know, because they are there, the helper maybe is gone, which is the support structure, and then you've got to carry everything, you know, as a woman. So my purpose is to support, encourage, pass knowledge that I have, little knowledge I have, create spaces for exposure for young people, both when girls and boys, and that's my passion, that's my purpose, that's what I do. I may not be in papers, I may not be in big magazines, but that's my purpose. That's what I've been doing since I was young. That's what I'm still doing. Yeah, you know, the person who's in my office, Boypi, Andrew, raising his hand, you know, I had a program for, I've got a program for, a candidate program for young HR professionals, and I'm supervising 2 industrial psychologists interns. I started that program at the university when I came there in 2018. That's my passion, that's my purpose, you know, to impart, to raise, to uplift, you know, young people, you know, to be better citizens. And what was the last one? Don't ask me these things, man, because I become carried away.
What keeps you going?
What keeps me going is the passion. Because if you don't have, remember that if you don't have passion for something, you can be thrown from here to there, to there, to there. But if you've got passion, it gives you energy. Even if you sleep, you know, with all these stones that have been thrown, then when you realize, bah, I am here for this purpose, this is my passion, then you wake up and you don't put in that resignation letter that you thought you were going to put, and continue and soldier on.
Thank you, Sis Nandi. I didn't leave anybody out now. I think all the hands. Nkolo, we answered you. I see your hand is still up. I'm not sure whether you wanted to make a follow-up or it's because you forgot to lower it. Nkolo?
I'm answered. I just don't know how to lower it.
Oh, okay. No, you just click on it again and then it will come down. Thank you again. I think I'm not shutting the door on anyone. We have had a good question and answer session, and I'm excited by the questions that the mentees have asked, because if you have something nagging, like you said, you need to ask so that you get clarity on that. And without waste of time, I just want to say, I'm not sure how long you are going to be with us, Sis Nandi. We are now going to go into circles. But can we start by having the feedback from the group, and we just summarize what happened in the group in relation to what the speakers we had and the video that we watched? Nyasha has raised her hand.
Hi everyone. So I'm from group 1, the female prodigies, and in our small circles, we basically discussed the key things that we took from the speakers today. And one of the things was, don't be afraid of rejection. So even if you have the fear of failure, fear of rejection, just keep going. Raise your hand, be visible, present your work, and you'll be spotted. And another thing we took from Usi's confidence was that all these goals for goals sessions, don't just be here, but actually be present, and the things you learn, practice them. That way you grow as a person. And after that, we basically discussed our fears, our passions, and what we can do in our communities to change and to help those in need.
Are you done? Thank you, Nyasha, and thank you for volunteering. Can we have a second group?
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from group 2, Hair Inspiration. So firstly, in our small cycles, we reflected on what we think our public office is, where it's about serving the public, having that position that you'll be responsible for needs of different people and a lot more other things. So we also reflected on how, or what, when we're looking at our future selves, what are the things, or future self with regards to being in an office, what are the things, what are our fears, what will be our excitement. So yeah, we shared our fears and excitement with regards to being in the office while looking at the future. And also some of the question Ma'am Joyce asked was when preparing for future office, what will be the next big step if we're looking at where we are today? And I got to share my idea about helping grade 12s with the applications, because where I come from, we don't usually get an opportunity, and I myself struggle a lot so that I can be able to apply. And then in the conversation, I got to share the challenges that I faced and the challenges that I will face if I'm trying to do those things, like, and I got to share challenges like resources or getting someone to actually get my idea out there, and also the strategies that I can have different alternatives, or talk to the kids and they will understand from someone who has been there. And we also reflected on what we have learned from the G4G sessions that can help in this public office, or if I'm to be in a public office, what are the other things that I've learned from the previous sessions. And things like being a courageous leader, understanding others, knowing yourself, and also communication came in handy. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Bringing those other principles we learned in the previous session, how everything, comes in together, because at the end of the day, you want to make a difference. How you are going to do it, you need to take that into consideration. Thank you very much. And Nkolo?
Okay, hi guys. I'm from the Authentic Diamonds group, and we were basically discussing what kind of public service do we want to initiate in our community, or do we want to be part of? And we mentioned grooming young kids, getting them off the streets, and we also mentioned keeping the environment clean, and we're basically giving each other advice on where to start and how to go about it so that it can be a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Nkolo. And can we have the next group?
Rachel had her hand raised.
Okay, Rachel.
Hi, ladies. I'm from the Unlimited Power Crawl, and what we did, we first reflected on. Guys, I'm so sorry. My dog is barking, and I don't know what it's barking. So I'm so sorry for the noise.
It's okay.
We first reflected on the main session and what we got from that, and then we also reflected on the video, and what so basically what ladies said from that is that what they got is so basically people are most likely to connect to the gestures and your body language than your vocal yeah. And then we also reflected on the homework, the running for office homework. So the ladies had brilliant ideas, that tackle basically the social issues that we have in the country. And I mean, like one particular lady even spoke about taking G4G to Limpopo. That's how big we aim. Yeah, and the main thing that we got from there is that it is important to write things down, to write it down so that you can plan it accordingly, so that you can shape and refine your idea. Yeah, and then we also spoke about our fears, or limitations as to what could limit us. And what we got from that is that people are scared, not necessarily scared, but people are people fear financial limitations, in terms of how you're gonna get your fundraising. People fear time, how you're gonna manage your time. And they also spoke about support, in terms of what type of support you are gonna have around. And then we also spoke a lot about using the connections you have in order to get you to where you want to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Hello. And you can see how it links nicely, building trust, having a village that you can get support from, making sure that you articulate what you want, negotiating and advocating for others. And you will be taking small baby steps in making sure that at the end of the day, you achieve what you want. The person who will be taking the G4G to Limpopo, those baby steps to say, how am I going to get there? What do I need to make sure that it gets there? And when it gets there, it gets the support. If I don't get the support, Nyasha talk, don't be afraid of rejection. You go back, you have written down those ideas, you go back and reflect, where did it go wrong? Where did it go right? Where do I need to change? and you charge on. That's what we are saying. You need to be courageous. Being courageous also means not giving up. And I think it has come up nicely in the feedback to say you are going to try. And I think Sis Nandi also touched on it to say, don't listen to what the other people are saying. The naysayers will always be there. Concentrate on yourself. Work on yourself and say, at least I tried. Unlike those who are talking, but not giving it a try. And we have never promised that all will be all well. We are always saying, have room for disappointment, have room for rejection, but be ready to dust yourself and move on. And can we get the last two groups? I think we have 6 groups. So if you can have feedback for the last 2 groups.
I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm representing the group ICE, and in our group, we basically looked at the video that we listened to. We talked about the video and we spoke about our fears. And one of the things that we resoluted to do, or one of the things that our mentee actually highlighted, is that sometimes it's not that people have a problem with you, but sometimes people have a problem with the position that you are in. And so we should not be people that are always feeling like are getting emotional in certain circumstances where things go bad. And with regards to our fears and our challenges, we had a common challenge, and that challenge was getting people to listen to you. And I'm glad that the challenge came up, because then we got to reflect on prior sessions, and one of our mentors spoke about the key principles of art of communication, knowing our audience, being clear, and that will actually help us with the challenge. And in the session, our mentors gave us words of affirmation with regards to the fears that we mentioned. So we even got to be vulnerable and emotional with our passions when we're talking about what are we resoluting to do at the end of Girls for Girls. And we also spoke about the fact that in our positions or in our endeavors, sometimes we need to understand that it's not about the power dynamics, but we need to, even if you are in a high position, it's important for you to learn to listen to other people. And then we eventually spoke about how we're going to give back, and we mentioned that it doesn't have to be something so big. Public office doesn't have to be something very huge, but it can be something as small as your family members or your immediate community. And the greatest emphasis was we shouldn't change who we are, and we shouldn't allow people to patronize us. And we spoke about our village and resoluting to still continue in our circle in Girls for Girls, even when the session is over, mainly because we see value in it, and everything that we have learned from it, the soft skills that we learned from Girls for Girls, are things that we are already applying. And I believe that in the future, those are things that we will apply. And with a village like Girls for Girls, then the sky is not even the limit.
Thank you very much. The sky is not the limit. Thank you. Can we have the last person from the last group?
Hello, everyone. I'm from Group 6, the Superstars. So in our discussion, we asked how public office can empower women. So running for office can be anything. It can be anything from a community project to landing a job to even a family activity. And so one of our people in the circle, Mikenzo, she mentioned that she wants career fairs in rural areas to happen more than once a year, because it is highly unlikely that students can decide their whole career in just one day out of the 365. And because this will combat the kids to eventually study varsity courses that they have no interest on. We also spoke about being visible. reflected on the session on being visible. So you can be visible through voluntary work, you can be visible by doing part-time jobs and taking interest in internships. So yeah, that was what we discussed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ndukwane. And I like the way you put into perspective how you unpacked how you can be visible, you know, in trying to reach your mission. I see I'm left with few minutes, so I'm just going to ask for a person who can just share with us. Remember, Oratile asked you to prepare for those that did not share with us previously, so that we can hear what you have prepared for us. Call to action. Anyone? Mentors, I hope you have been encouraging them. Do you know anyone who wanted to say something to us?
Sorry, remember, is this sharing the ideas we were speaking of in the groups?
No, yeah, the homework that we asked to say other people shared their speeches last time in the art of communication. So we would like to have more people sharing.
So Boypuso, what we said in the group is that they have ideas for how they want to run for office. So yes, this is the time, Lolwetu, for you to be able to share what it is you'd like to do. Their vision.
I think maybe from the group ICE, Alice and both Kinsani had some good ideas. Alice, do you want to share yours?
Before we can hear Alice, let's check with Lolwetu if she wanted to. She was asking so that she can say something.
Right.
And I can give Alice chance.
Okay. In our group, in my group, we discussed all our ideas. So, an idea of mine was to start an NGO that would go to schools from every phase, right from creche up until high school, even varsities, in fact, to teach children about consent, because I feel like another reason why gender-based violence is so high in this country is that people don't understand or acknowledge the concept of consent.
Okay. Can we also have Alice sharing, and then after that we can have a discussion about the two speeches that we have had. Alice?
Okay, I wrote a little something. I'm from a place called Yobo. It's sometimes referred to as Little Africa because of the many African cultures that exist there. But many of you may know Yobo from news headlines, crime, drugs, prostitution. This is something that Yobo is notorious for. As a result of such an environment, the youth is typically falling into the cycle of poverty, of teenage pregnancy, dropouts, and drugs. And this was my initial idea for having joined G4G, for me to be able to gain skills that I can put back into my community and I could put back into my previous high school, which is Atlant Girls. Initially, I had the intention of becoming a mentor at the Atlant Girls cohort first. However, I then became a mentee first, which I took as a blessing in disguise. For me to be able to learn these skills that I can then put back into my community. So my call to action is that we need to change the states that Yovo is currently in. Firstly, I feel that we need to engage as a community more with the South African Police Service, because I do feel that we do not do so in the community. I feel that people have given up and we do not have an active CPF forum, community crime intervention forum. We don't have that. So I think that is something that needs to be firstly looked at as a community. Secondly, I do think we need more engagement with the youth, where we need career expos firstly, where sometimes when you're surrounded by so much negativity, so much crime, drugs, and this is all you see around, you do not see a way out of that. So what we need is encouragement for the youth to say, hey, there's life beyond this. There's life beyond crime, and there's life beyond just drugs in your immediate environment. And that, I think, would help in terms of motivational talks to get people from Yovo who've made it out and say, look, this is how I did it. I know this is what you're going through. I know this is what you're facing on a daily basis, but there is a way to come out of this. So we used to have a recreational project when I was still in primary, where it was dancing, karate. We also had a soul buddies. However, all that has fizzled out, and there's literally no youth program in the community. And that is things like that we need to bring back, sort of shift the focus of the youth in the community into something else, that you don't know that you may have a passion in dancing. You don't know that you may have a passion in karate or in public speaking, but because you don't have such opportunities to express that, then you sort of get caught up in that cycle of poverty and negativity and negative thinking. So yeah, that is my call to action campaign.
Thank you, Alice. Lebohang, you are the last one. Lebohang?
Hello. Hi.
Yes.
So our campaign for action in our group, so in our circle, a few of us are studying accounting. I'm studying accounting, and one member who is available today is also studying accounting. So we see as future accountants that in our government there's too much corruption. Everyone is corrupt. Monies are disappearing just like that. And at the end of the day, we're going to have to pay for it. Future graduates will have to pay for this corruption that is happening around the country.
Lebohang? I think we lost. Lebohang? Is he still here? Lebohang? I can't hear Lebohang. Can you hear her? Hello?
No, I think she cut off. We can still hear you, Boypus, no?
Oh, okay. But I think you had the what she wanted to say, and I will ask other mentors to also give feedback to the mentees. But what I've picked up is that it's what we have always said: the why behind the what. They were able to actually articulate to say, this is what I want to do, and I have heard them saying, this is why I want to do it. And in that way, who wouldn't want to support them? Because now they have put their point forward, and it's understandable, it's clear, and all they want is support. So I'm just going to, I know I'm out of time now, but we will just spend just 5 minutes to reflect on what they have said. So mentors, do you want to add something to what the mentees have presented on? Mentors.
I don't think from my side, I don't think it's anything much to add, but just to say that, you know, these sessions, I think, leave the mentors more inspired and ready to do things than the mentees. And I'm a firm believer of paying it forward, like most of you would know. And it's not about the quantity so much, but it's more about the quality of what we do that counts.
Okay. Thank you, Zaina. Anybody else? I haven't had some mentors' voices in a long time. Oh, Lebohang is back. Any other mentor?
No.
Yeah, Oratile?
Hi.
I thought about what Alice just said, and I am a martial arts student. So I did text her to inform her that if she is interested in starting a dojo this side in Yeovil, I can talk to some of my senseis and then we can try to shift it this side if that works.
I didn't hear the last part, Uratile.
No, it's fine. I think, well, I just said we'll move it. We'll try to move the training sessions this side.
Okay, to Yeovil.
Yeah, to Yeovil. And then maybe we can get some recruits and some of the different senseis can actually start a dojo that side.
Okay. So what made you decide?
That's Alice's call out to action. So she did highlight that there was a dojo in Yeovil years back, but then it's not there anymore. So since I am part of I do study martial arts, I was thinking, and I'm here in DFC, so it's not it's not a huge distance. I can actually manage to talk to some of the guys I train with, and then we can go that side and do training that side so that more people can actually come to join and hopefully keep them out of the street.
Okay. Now I just wanted the also the why. Why are you assisting her?
Oh, because it helped me.
It helped?
Me, like karate got me focused. It taught me a lot of principles that I feel like if somebody is out in the street, it can inspire them. You know, stuff like discipline, stuff like it has this circle thing where when you train, you know that you work as a team. You know, they teach you endurance, they teach you never to give up. You know, so it has a lot of skills in it. It's not just a sport, or it's not just, it actually doesn't condone violence, even though we do fight, but you know, it teaches you a lot of skills you might need for the future. So I think that's why I would do it.
Yeah. Now I was just wanting to make the link because remember also in one of the sessions we did discuss the issue of people who are assisting you. You also need to help them understand where you come from, where you are going, so that they can help you. Or you need to help them to understand also your mission. And then you will get the necessary and proper assistance. So what Alice said resonates with what you have just said and what you are doing. And in that way, you will be helping her and you'll also be helping yourself and other people. So as we go along, it's those links that we need to make because we don't just want you to say, you know, I'm excited, I'm going to start a project, and 6 months down the line, you know, nowhere, we can't get hold of you, we don't know what is going on with you. So making that link, understanding the why behind the what. Thank you very much. And I think we are coming to the end. Before I mention the homework for next session, Valerie wanted to talk to us about the alumni program. Valerie?
Thank you, Boypuso. So girls, you are almost about to graduate. Some of you are almost about to graduate. And I just want to say, I can't believe it's gone so quickly because we've had such an amazing time together. One of my favorite cohorts, absolutely. Energy and everything that you bring. But I wanted to let you know about something that's coming up. We are about to start a G4G alumni program that we will be launching in September. And it will give you an opportunity to do some of this work that you've been talking about now in terms of creating opportunities to work together, maybe start some social impact efforts together, social activities. We're going to be sharing different jobs, leadership, study, bursary opportunities. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to take your network, the G4G network, and keep it going and keep it growing. And so, please look out for announcements and for the launch event, which is coming shortly. As a graduate of G4G, anyone, you are welcome to join, and we look forward to seeing you there. What we're also going to do is there are going to be 4 or 5 leadership positions available that you can run for office for. So we would like to see you using all the skills that you've learned at G4G to run for office, to possibly lead the G4G alumni cohort. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Please look out for announcements coming shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. Rita, do you want to say something before I announce the winners for this week and what they are winning and why they are winning?
For me, this is when we make the call to action for the future mentors. So there are a number of you that already know you're going to graduate, because remember we had said, Mambo Pusa pointed out that as long as you attend 4 sessions out of the 6, you're definitely going to get that pretty certificate and that helpful certificate that Confidence talked about. So what does that mean? It means that once you have that certificate, you can then be trained to become a G4G mentor. So it means that for all of you that are talking about projects going back to Limpopo and wanting to help your cousins, your community, whoever it is, this is your opportunity. So please do think about it, start scoping, talk to your different mentors about it. But this is when we start to identify people who continue to walk the journey with us. So we welcome your interest in it, and we're ready to support you setting up your G4G circles. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Rita. And thank you very much to
our guest speaker, and putting into perspective the topic of today and giving us a lot to think about and talk about in circles, and making us aware and giving us strategy how to survive out there and to.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying thank you to Confidence also for sharing her story and her journey and making this G4G mission real and come to life, and hoping to see some of the mentees this year joining us next year, and also joining the new cohorts that we are going to have and sharing their stories so that we can make, together, we can make a difference. Thank you to all the mentors who were here today and always being present and sharing their stories also to put things into perspective. And today's winners, there is a voucher. So the voucher will, in fact, vouchers. So the voucher will go to the 2 mentees who shared their stories, and to Lolwethu for coming up with the war cry for us. I think I also did a war cry. I don't know whether it resonated with people or not, but it's a voucher. I will contact them. They will tell me whether they want data or they want airtime. So that is what they will be getting. And it's one way of encouraging and saying, thank you for when you are on this platform to be present and to participate and share. You are welcome to share your fears, your challenges, and that's why we're here for. We don't only want the good stories, but we want those challenges so that we are able to provide some light, and at the end of the day, the decision is yours to say, this is what I will do. And talking about the decision, that is our session's topic for next, in 2 weeks' time, where we will be dealing with ethics and values in decision making. So the homework for today is that you have to think of a difficult situation where your ethics, I would say, you know, you had to, it says think about a difficult decision that you had to take and the moral choice that you had. To say sometimes it's not clear, it's not black and white as we want it to be. Sometimes when we're in a outside the situation, it's easy to say, I want. or it's easy to say I will, until you are in that situation. We want you to go and think about those situations you are in, and we will discuss them further in the circles, and also get from the guest speaker what she has to share with us on ethics and values. And also, please, I know some mentees, we do send the videos and they don't watch it, and sometimes it's difficult in circles to discuss the topic of the day. If you haven't watched the video, there is a purpose why you have to watch them, so that we can have a fruitful discussion and you are not lost along the way, and you start wondering, why am I here? Because now you feel bad that you didn't watch the video. So if Uradile sends the video, please watch the video, and so that you can have better discussions in future. Is there anything that I'm leaving out before we close? No? Going once? Twice? Thank you very much. As always, bring your present self. If there's anything like that, bring your present self for our last session. And we will appreciate again any ideas of how we can end the journey with a bang. So we have some ideas, but we'll also welcome from mentees, especially that what is it that you think we can do for our graduation, because we will also be handing out the certificate. So you better be there, and mentors, please encourage your mentees in your groups to remind them that it's our graduation day, so we'd like everybody to be here. Even those that didn't make it to the third session, but if they can come, maybe we can also encourage them to come back again, because we are planning to have another cohort next year. We still have mentees booklets that community engagement donated that needs to be used. With those words, thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend until we meet again on the 8th of September. Valerie or Rita have their family to close off as people are leaving the meeting. Wow.